joined by Bruce Pascoe. He writes for the Arizona Daily Star, covers Arizona basketball, number 3 in the country. Nice win against Utah, and after a little delay because of a couple of games postponed, have won against Colorado, and then also I mentioned Utah. Bruce, this team looks very good. The long haul sustainability. Obviously, Arizona's got a great, rich history. This was expected for them to be in this position, right?
Well, not right away. I mean, you know, they do have a great tradition. They've had great teams over the years, but they've been in a little bit of a dip towards the end of the Sean Miller era, you know, the last few years with some things going on and the FBI investigation and everything else. And so I think this is sort of the ceiling of what you could have expected, because there was a good core of players coming back, but not a whole lot of depth. And Tommy Lloyd, the new coach, being an assistant at Gonzaga, was very well respected, but you never know exactly how that transition is going to go to a head coach. So that, I think locally here there was a little bit of questions, and they weren't even ranked at all entering the year, and they've just gotten off to a good start. They haven't played the toughest schedule, but they have been on the road for a couple of tough games. They beat Illinois at Illinois, which was really their best win by far of the year, and then they played really well at Tennessee a few weeks ago. So they have been again about as good as you can expect. I think maybe certainly they were better than I expected, and maybe some others, but you knew it was possible. I just didn't think it would all come together at least so quickly.
Has the success helped erase just that cloud that was over the program for a couple of years or so?
Well, it certainly helped take the attention away from it. And I think everything's been through, and all the charges have been levied, and the only thing they're waiting on is the final decision from the independent accountability review process, this new thing, and that every indication is there's no real hurry with that. It may still be another few months, and maybe this summer or next fall. So that's just sort of out there. And I think what it's done is just this team has distracted everyone from that, and just people are rallying around actual basketball for once. Because I think honestly, going into the year, I think there wasn't that much interest, and I think because of COVID and because of the investigation, and just the general, there was just general lack of buzz around this team, but the way they've been playing, they sort of regenerated it, and I think the last few home games they've actually had pretty good crowds despite COVID restrictions, and fans complaining about mask versus no mask or whatever and all that kind of stuff, and they've kind of got everyone rallying around them now. So it's definitely been a focal point. It's actual basketball and fun basketball to watch.
I saw a tweet from you earlier today. They moved up to number 3, as you mentioned, despite the history and tradition. This may be a little bit earlier than some expected. The vault as far up as they are. And then Tommy Lloyd mentioned the old Bill Parcells rat poison, right? Don't eat the cheese.
Yeah, well, right. Actually, he quoted Nick Saban, who I guess said it recently, but I didn't realize Parcells did way back. Okay. So, I mean, I think in general he's not wild. He just thinks it's been a little too much. And I think at the same time, there's a few little signs that they're not playing quite as well as they were earlier in the year. They struggled a little bit at times against both Colorado and Utah. They had their point guard didn't play against Utah because, according to Lloyd, he was horsing around and hurt himself in some way. He wouldn't say what exactly. And he didn't sit, and the point guard, Kirk Reese, didn't sit on the bench. So that kind of indicated maybe there's a chemistry issue or something. So there's these little things going on. And at the same time, they're looking at a 3-game road trip coming up against Stanford, Cal, and UCLA, which, at least 2 of those games could be pretty tough. And so I think he's trying to put the brakes on everything. And then it comes at the same time that 3 teams lost up high in the poll, and so I asked him. They say, hey, you could be number 3 on Monday, and that's when he said it's rat poison. I don't want to hear about it. This team everybody's been telling him how great they are, and they still got things to work on. That's kind of what he said, and that's I think any smart coach would probably react that way to
absolutely
like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you're right. Baylor, who we cover, lost twice at home to Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, and they're on the road against West Virginia on Tuesday, so they could be they're in a funk, and some other teams have come and gone. Now, you got the big guys at Arizona playing pretty well. They didn't shoot the ball well the last game or two, but is this a team that is very flexible, versatile, so to speak, as far as who can do what?
Yeah. I think that's one of their strengths, and they they're one of the top 2-3 teams in assist percentage. As a percentage of their made baskets, they love to share the ball. They generally seem to like to share the ball. I mean, that's Tommy Lloyd's philosophy, and it stems from Gonzaga's to run hard, and create a lot of shots off just reading what your teammates are doing and pass the ball around a lot. And they seem to have a really good feel for that way. But that said, I think probably the one thing they can always lean on, and they did this with Utah, is their big guys. I mean, they have a 7-footer in Christian Coloco who's really good around the basket and a really good rim protector. Kind of evolving into a rim runner. And then Azuolas Tubelis, the power forward, is he's really something. He scored 32 the other night, and if he gets the ball, he can be really unstoppable inside, especially from his left side. And so that's probably their biggest strength. But they're pretty good 3-point shooting team too, and then they've got Ben Mathurin, who's really a kind of a budding star on the wing who can score at all levels, and he's a projected lottery pick right now, and he's been down a little bit lately, but there's times when he just can take over a game. It's just a matter of when.
This is the grind. You mentioned back-to-back games on the road, Stanford, Cal, UCLA, Stanford Thursday. The Pac-12 with UCLA obviously was hyped high and should have been after what they did last year to Gonzaga in the semis and who they have back. USC was very high, and then they've kind of gone back down to earth, and now Arizona's vaulted up. Is the conference deep enough to get them challenged the way they need, other than the fact that there always are conference, natural rivalries? Is it deep enough for when they do hit the postseason, they'll be tested?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's pretty strong throughout. I think it's it's one of these deals. It's kind of a cliche, but I think literally at all 12 teams, if you're playing at their place, any of those 12 teams can beat anybody. It's one of those kind of years. There's been a couple years where the bottom 2, 3, maybe even 4 teams are pretty much games that if you're at the top, you can count on beating them. But that's not quite the case this year, because even at the bottom, you've got Washington, Cal, Utah. All of them have played well at times, and all can have pretty tough home court environments. So, I think it will, that way, and I think that's what happened, frankly, last season. Even though there weren't fans anywhere in the Pac-12, it was pretty tough top to bottom, and at the end of the day, you get in that tournament, and Pac-12 had 3 teams, go to that second, 4 teams go to that second weekend, and it was really, really something. And UCLA get to the Final Four, so similar thing could happen this year as well.
Bruce, thanks for your time. Bruce Pascoe covers Arizona basketball for the Arizona Daily Star on SicEm 365 Radio.